Plants vs. Zombies was one of the most iconic games of the 2000s. The game quickly appealed to a very wide audience and rapidly increased its player count. However, after a rapid rise, the game virtually died out. This legendary game is no longer played, or something caused this. In this video we will witness the release of Plants vs. Zombies, its subsequent rise, and finally how it crashed. In other words, we will find out what happened to this game. If you're ready, let's begin. Everything started in 2009 with the release of Plants vs. Zombies. There are 49 different plants in the game and they all have separate tasks. The game's success depended entirely on these having very diverse systems. Didn't bore the players in talking about a completely free atmosphere that took up a small amount of space and was full of fun. You only needed to watch ads in the game, and those are present in every game anyway. The game's intro menu effects and music were truly special, as the name suggests. It had a zombie theme, that's why there were many gray stones in the menu. The best part was that there was nothing unnecessary in the game menu. Everything was in its place and it wasn't confusing. It said start when you clicked here. An introductory scene for the adventure mode would appear. Of course, this excited the player a lot. When you first started the game, a strip of grass was created separating you from the zombies coming from the other side. You could collect suns falling from above to save points and place plants. In later levels the game opens up sequentially until it's a full map. In the first levels you easily learn the basics of the game and continue, since the goal is entirely to defeat zombies. This might become boring for some after a while, however the game thinks of this and doesn't offer a mundane progression. After a while you collect shovels that rarely fall on the ground. Every time you collect one you get a special item. This is completely up to your luck, but even the worst one is useful. The store opens, levels are shown, and the game ceases to be ordinary after a while. Instead of just placing straight plants, you can play mini games like walnut bowling, little zombies, vase breakers, and similar things. Every mini-game and adventure mode is in a unique position. Every 10 levels the game replaces the seeds you chose with a conveyor belt of random plants you get, so we can briefly call this a trading system. Before continuing the video, I want to briefly talk about our sponsor Odoo. Odoo is a CRM software that offers more than 45 applications together. There is a reason it gathers more than 45 applications under one roof. Of course, to make work easier today, any company has to pay separate fees for every software it needs. Odoo completely eliminates this and offers you all programs in one option, thus you don't have to pay separate fees for each software. Moreover, it gathers almost everything that small and large businesses need, from accounting to invoicing, under one roof. Odoo doesn't just do these things, it also allows you to get all this software at an affordable price. You can use the platform with unlimited users without paying a fee for a single application. While using all these, you can use all applications unlimitedly by paying only €12 per user per month. By clicking the link in the description, you can use one Odoo application for life with unlimited users completely free, or you can try Odoo Standard for free without entering credit card information. Of course, the essential part of the game might be this man you see on the screen. Probably many of you know this man and are feeling emotional right now. He would occasionally appear on the screen while playing the game and give some explanations. He also taught how to do things. While some people saw him as an annoying character, others thought he was stupid enough to be funny but too smart to be stupid. The computer version of the game was loved for years, but it was also neglected. Despite this, it remains a great game today. Plants vs. Zombies was a game easy enough for everyone to play, and know it had also proven itself to be the highest rated tower defense game of all time. Everything is fine up to this point, but why isn't this game played today? Why was it forgotten despite being seen as a legend? On July 15, 2011, EA, seeing the outstanding success of Plants vs. Zombies, bought the game's developer company PopCap for $650 million. If you don't know, EA is a company known for buying companies and then ditching them. After PopCap was acquired by EA, the second Plants vs. Zombies game was released. The second game wasn't bad as a sequel, we can say it was almost perfect. Leaving aside the general problems in games, the biggest problem with the second game was that it was a mobile game. This game was specifically designed for mobile. It had no connection to computers or consoles. Also, in the second game, ads would pop up every time you finished a level. The user interface has free reward ads everywhere. Of course, this also bores the player after a while. When all these problems come together, the game quality drops significantly. This means a worse experience for the player in general. The second game isn't bad overall, but it's a fact that it can't be praised as much as the first game. Also, you have to pay a $7 fee for each plant to get all the plants in the game. This means more than $100 for 16 plants. The game itself is really solid and a lot of extras are given, but the EA company was pressuring PopCap to add this whole mobile game aspect. Truly, the game's designers wouldn't want to intentionally ruin their own game. After the second game, when the series should have continued, something different happened. They chose the next Plants vs. Zombies game to be a third-person shooter. Although completely changing the game in an existing series seemed like a bad idea, they achieved great success with this format change. People really loved this game. Later, in February 2016, they made a second Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare game. They improved the first game more, and this was met positively. After that they released a game called Plants vs Zombies Heroes. This game was going to be the dark game of the PvZ series. We can call this the point where PopCap and EA officially dropped the ball. The game was released in 2016. The companies once again decided to redesign. At that time 3 years had passed since the release of Plants vs Zombies 2. People had waited a long time for a new game, but they were shocked when they saw that this game was not a tower defense game but instead a card game. To be honest, this was a pretty fun and addictive game, but in terms of presentation everything felt a bit cheaper and it has less ambition than the other series. Even though PvZ Heroes is a PvZ game made from scratch for mobile, it's not that bad, but almost all of the problems were that it wasn't what people wanted. At this point players were divided between tower defense games and third-person shooter games. That's why PopCap and EA company stayed silent for 3 years after the last game. They allowed their existing games to continue generating revenue through ads and microtransactions. The Plants vs Zombies series was known for producing different content in each game. After the companies released one last game, it was clear that everything was going downhill. Yes, people really didn't like the last game released. In February 2020 they released a launch for the third Plants vs Zombies game. People were really excited because 7 years had passed since the last game. The sunflowers were remade and the game was now in portrait mode, but the design looked a bit bad. Problems like this stemmed from the game once again chasing the mobile market. The third game received harsh reactions and PopCap company was in a difficult situation. The game was officially removed and remade about a year later. This time it was very similar to the first two games. The aspect ratios were fixed and the design looked much better. Since they received so much backlash the first time, they were hesitant to make changes after the reaction. On the other hand, the game didn't look bad anymore, but the changes made so far had shaken confidence in the game. Of course, the easiest way to sink a series is to milk it. Unfortunately, they did the hard thing for years and milked it. Plants vs Zombies 3 is still around right now, but it's not as popular as it used to be. It can return to its former state if the developers wanted to, but it's not clear if they will do this. If we look at what really finished the series, there actually wasn't a single reason. Throughout the video we looked at how it was developed and what happened step by step. Their goal was to improve quality over the years. The EA company definitely has a share in this downfall, but every game also has its own fanbase. Don't forget to state your thoughts about the video. Did you play this game or are you hearing about it for the first time? I am definitely waiting for your comments.